kept pushing on, but then you went too far. When your ship has sailed and all your dreams are lost, everything is wrong, you feel like it's your fault. Just remember, I will be there for you, baby. Remember, there's nothing out there to get you, don't forget it. When life throws lemons, just call me. Just call me. Just call me. Just call me. You're stronger now than you ever been. You gotta leave now, it's time to catch the wind. You will climb up high and look through the clouds, and when you're feeling low, I know you'll bounce back. Oh, and just remember, I will be there for you, baby. Remember, there's nothing out there to get you, don't forget it. When life throws lemons, just call me. Just call me. Just call me. Just call me.
From Bristol Motor Speedway, the Racers Elite Xfinity Series is ready to get it on right here in the last great Coliseum. Good evening, everyone, and welcome to the Tony Trapasso Memorial Broadcast Booth. Dave Regal and Jordan Brockel, we've got the A-Team back together forever right here on Sim Racing Media, and we're going to be bringing you all of the action from the green flag to the checkered flag right here on Sim Racing Media. Of course, Andrew Teff picks up the win last week at Las Vegas Motor Speedway. However, Brandon Puffenbarger still sits atop the pile. Who's going to bring home the checkered flag tonight? And who's going to be standing there, hands in the air, saying, "It's Bristol, baby"? We'll find out tonight right here with Dave and Jordan. And, buddy, I'm always glad when I slide into the booth and find you here with your thumb held high on my stool.
Oh yeah, I'm always excited to be here and work with you, especially when we come to Bristol Motor Speedway. Not only is it the last great Coliseum and hosted a baseball game this past season, it's also where I started my broadcasting career. So every time that I come to Bristol, it certainly reminds me of how great this journey has been, and I always look forward to this race.
Yeah, I mean, all season long here in the Racers Elite, I know that I've heard, rumblings about what's going on, and these drivers are not letting us down whatsoever. Of course, Chief Cook and Bottle Washer Andrew Teft from Chicken Coop Racing, the pride of Hope Valley, Rhode Island, is only a couple of points behind Brandon Puffenbarger, and by a couple, I mean a few. He's only 4 points out of the league. Brandon Puffenbarger, of course, from Midwest Motorsports, leads the way. Truth Hoke running in third, and he's tied for third with Joshua Neal. Alex Teft, of course, the brother of Andrew Teft, he's running in fifth in the points. Stephen Luttrell, Sean Dunaway, Kirby Wayne Scott, Dennis Kane, and Rob Yost Jr. round out the top 10 of your points. So coming into tonight's race with about 90 seconds left in qualifying, Brandon Puffenbarger finally comes out to get those last couple of qualifying laps out of Morgantown, West Virginia. Go Mountaineers, as they say. Wonder if he was a Geno Smith fan as he turns his laps and now goes third fastest on the timing line in his opening lap. He doesn't wrap the bottom too tight, and as he comes out of turn 4, crossing the start-finish line, he is going to remain, he is going to go to the front row alongside of Rob Yost. So maybe a little bit like Bob Uecker, it looks like there's room for him down in the front row.
Yeah, and it looks, based on our timing and scoring, identical time. So it's always pretty cool when you see that, because those guys are putting in as much as they can around these corners. And this track can certainly catch you by surprise. You end up getting a little bit tight through center corner and, plowing off corner exit, having to get out of the gas. And you get out of the gas and the guy right behind you is all over you, trying to make a dive to the inside of you so he can avoid your rear bumper. And, if someone's there to his inside just ever so slightly, that's where calamity can happen. And, see a lot of these guys run that high line too, get in a little too hot and, brush that wall. It's the same kind of thing. You end up having to check up and get yourself back collected and end up collecting someone with you.
Yeah, and Bristol Motor Speedway, a very versatile place. I mean, we call it the last great Coliseum as we hover high above the infield here in our blimp cam. And, these people at Bristol Motor Speedway, they know how to schedule an event, that's for sure.
Oh yeah, I mean it's one of those things that it's just a constant party at Bristol Motor Speedway. It doesn't matter what it is, and wouldn't be surprised if they end up having soccer here. They had football, they had baseball. Now we're just waiting for other sports.
Hey, the Speedway Classic was an exciting event this year at Bristol, and I got to be honest, I was thrilled. Of course, I'm always thrilled no matter what the venue is when it's baseball. But let's take a look at our starting lineup here at Bristol Motor Speedway. 16 drivers in the field tonight, and just about everybody gridded up. Rob Yost Jr., he's going to sit on the front row alongside Brandon Puffenbarger, our points leader. Stephen Luttrell and Joshua Neal, they're going to be in row number 2. Starting in 5th position on the inside of row 3 is going to be Truth Hoke, joined by the pride of Hope Valley, Rhode Island, Andrew Teft. Dennis Kane and Troy Thomas are going to be starting 7th and 8th in row number 4, with Barry Nelson and Curtis Ecker rounding out the starting top 10. Starting in 11th is Lee Campbell out of the Full Send Esports machine. That's 60-piece back here alongside of Andrew Teft, also from Chicken Coop Racing, starting in 12th. Pete Polini and Sean Dunaway hold things down in row number 7. And row 8, and rounding out the field starting shotgun, going to be David Kimmins, with Terry Fennell not taking the start. It appears he has hopped on out of the session, but things could change here for him. Maybe he wants to try to start from the pits. And I got to be honest, at a place like this, that might not be a bad thing.
Oh, absolutely not. You go into turn 1 and then end up collecting a couple of cars early. You're sitting there coasting in the back and just kind of find your way through.
never mind. Rob Yost here in the 83. Going to get us started. The iRacing.com pace truck gets ready to peel on down pit road. And you know what that means, folks. The only thing that's left to do is it's time to wipe the visor and adjust the 5-point harness. Grandma, grab your popcorn, your honey buns, and settle in. Race fans, it's showtime! Green flag in the air, and off we go at the last great Coliseum, Bristol Motor Speedway.
Yeah, immediately you see that 5 car of Puffenbarger all the way up against the wall, trying to wrap that outside a little tighter. Now goes down to the bottom, and we're going to see some people try out some different lines throughout the entire night, and certainly by the end of this thing, people are going to have a different sense of control with their car, whether it's good on the top or on the bottom, and it's going to be a fun ride here at Bristol.
Do you find yourself better when you're riding the top at Bristol, or do you like riding the bottom?
Honestly, I do better when I'm in the pits because I am not a good racer. But most of the time, I find myself on that top line trying to just hug the wall and carry that momentum as tightly as possible, or as best as possible. You see, I can't tell the number. I want to say it was the 55 of Truth Hoke. He was all the way up against that wall and tried to wrap the outside. Got a little scuff to it, but seems to be fine so far.
As we watch Andrew Teft here in the 98 Ford Mustang, right here in the middle of your screen, that white and blue Ford Motorcraft machine gets around here early, and I'll tell you what, a lot of times you're going to see there's really 3 different grooves that people are going to try to use, and until this track gets rubbered in, you really have to just kind of hold on for dear life. And speaking of which, the 3 machine of Troy Thomas, he's going to sink back just a little bit for the time being, as he's now given up a position after qualifying in 8th. He now runs in 9th side-by-side with Barry Nelson, the 196. Steve Luttrell, meanwhile, up here running in P2 behind Rob Yost Jr. He just laid fast time down at 15 seconds flat.
Yeah, that's a blazing time here, especially early on without the rubber. The time's certainly going to drop down once these guys get a little bit more grip in this racetrack, and certainly this first run I think is going to tear through tires a little bit sooner than on a later run, simply just because of not having the rubber down on the track.
Yeah, I think that for a lot of these guys, this first segment of the race, I mean, we're 200 laps, and all things considered, we're ripping them off pretty quick so far with 11 in the books right now. And one of the things, I almost don't want to jinx it, but I feel like it goes without saying. We've seen some of these races, especially in these high rear-end torque Xfinity races, where this turns into a wreck fest. But these guys have really gotten good here on the concrete bowl at Bristol Motor Speedway. Dave Riedel and Jordan Brockell with you in the Tony Trapasso Memorial Broadcast booth. And this week, actually Friday, will be the end of the 3rd anniversary of, it'll be the 3rd official anniversary of Tony's passing. 2nd. That's the one.
Yeah, and certainly he is missed, and I never got to work with him, but I know he covered a couple of the races that I raced in back in the day. Used to love listening to him, and certainly a tough time. And I know Dave gets choked up, and oh, sorry, not to cut that off. Rob Yost got loose, got the wall, but lost the lead to Luttrell here. But Tony is truly missed here in the SRM family, and we keep on trucking in his name, and keep doing what we do for him.
I made the comment earlier today. I was speaking with a former teammate of ours who lives out in San Diego, and I said to him that it seems very apropos to me that on the anniversary of losing Tony, I will be in the radio booth up at Panther Valley on 1410 AM WLSH. So that just feels right. Now let's take a quick look here at the Rob Yost past, because this is not something we see every day, especially when Rob Yost was really getting himself a good lead. We go to the SRM replay, And watch Rob here coming into the turn. He doesn't really get. It's almost like he had that good plow up there into 1 and 2.
Well, I'm also wondering if maybe he saw that Luttrell was on his way and, kind of clicking off slightly faster times. Not, monumentally faster, but just enough that, you let him by now. You run your own race, kind of keep yourself in a cool, calm, collected manner, and kind of let him run his stuff out and be there to pounce on him. And I think something that we're forgetting that's going to be crucial here tonight too is going to be tonight with the pit stops.
Yeah, pit stops are going to be key. And I think as we get deeper into the night, especially if a caution doesn't come out, I mean, it doesn't happen very often. I've seen it. It's kind of like the white whale. It's enough used to be my nickname on the beach. But kind of like the white whale. Green flag pit stops at Bristol are few and far between. And just to kind of put the emphasis on your thought a moment ago, I've got that time delta down here on the bottom of your screen, folks. And, right now, Luttrell has been starting to step away from Rob Yost Jr. And now for the last, 4 out of the last 5 laps, Rob Yost was actually running slower than Luttrell consistently. And just now, this is the first time in the last several that Yost has stepped it up.
Him go and burn stuff up for just 3, 4, 5 laps can certainly put him at a tire disadvantage. Again, it's a short track. It's really abrasive. You're trying to power off corner. Put down as much power as possible. Maybe burning up that right rear. Maybe even burning up corner too deep. So just letting him go and have his ride is certainly going to be something that could be beneficial to you. As it seems caution out on the racetrack here now.
Here it looks like Curtis Ecker maybe caught with his guard down. Let's take a look and see what happened. Let's get this graphic out of the way, get that pesky artwork out of the way, and see what happened with Curtis Ecker. Ecker here in the 8 machine. Comes down and turns the 3 of Troy Thomas. Whoa! And then Thomas gets finished off.
And the 196. 196 came in, got a piece of it, and that's just Bristol racing there. You wash up the track coming off corner, again, trying to put down as much power as possible. And, where it's a game of inches here on racetracks, and at Bristol it's even more prevalent with it being such a more narrow track that as he washes up, it just gets that little hook.
Yeah, that's Troy Thomas just being absolutely annihilated. Oy. And we're going to look at this from Curtis Ecker's perspective as well. This is also going to trigger some wholesale pit stops. Now this is Ecker on board. There's Thomas. And Ecker just,
Yeah, and it's one of those things, it's not really an at fault to either guy. It's just hard racing, trying to find every little tenth of a second that you can.
And here they come down pit road. As I'm just trying to get these cameras pulled on up. There they are. Taking a look here at Lee Campbell, David Kimmins, literally everybody else. Actually, Lee Campbell and David Kimmins, the only drivers not to come down pit road. Rather impressive if you ask me. Maybe a slightly ballsy move, especially because on restart, these guys are all going to be on fresh tires behind them, so you run the risk of turning yourself into roadkill at a place like this.
Yeah, but I mean, we're getting close to the end of this regular season here. So with Lee Campbell just being 8 points out, I mean, he's looking to just kind of put himself in a track position to have a really good finish. I believe the guy right in front of him, as I clicked off the points, Cody Manelli, is not here, so he's going to be able to possibly jump that. And with Troy Thomas having some issues there, going to maybe be able to make up a little bit on him as well. So just trying to find his way up a little bit and find himself in a little bit better of a point situation, especially with Portland coming up. That's going to be a tough one. And then you get a Kern Speedway, which is another really small track. So a couple of hard races coming up. So you want to try to maximize your points each week.
The iRacing.com pace truck peels on down pit road as the drivers make their way out of turn 4. The green flag goes in the air. We're back underway on lap 33. We've clicked a lot of this race off pretty quick over the last 10 minutes since the initial green flag flew. Bet you can't say that 5 times fast. As Lee Campbell Jr. takes over the lead for the time being, he's up 10 positions and he's holding off Rob Yost Jr. Now, the question becomes, is Rob Yost saying, go ahead, Lee, you go out here, burn your stuff up, and then I'm going to eat you for lunch, as the Ballston Spa, New York native is now under assault from Rob Yost, as Yosti's going to get himself underneath. Side by side they go, giving each other plenty of room, and that's the secret to racing at a place like Bristol. You know, making sure that you've got the room and so does your competitor. I mean, that's what's going to keep this safe racing, and that's something that Racers Elite is known for here on the iRacing.com servers.
Oh, 100%. I mean, you got to have space. It's give and take right now. Later on, if they're in that same kind of position later, you'll see these guys side by side, separated by maybe even a mere inch, and you know, kind of maybe even door banging a little bit. But you know, right now, I mean, Lee Campbell doing pretty good here on older stuff. You know, Rob Yost and Littrell, they knew that they could easily get by him. It's just a matter of just putting the corners together and carrying the momentum and not getting frustrated. So that works out for them. And I mean, again, Lee Campbell really benefiting right now as still sitting here in third. The 5 of Puffenbarger looking at the rear brand. Caution flies once again.
This time it looks like Truth Hoke was involved, and he's registered crashing 3 times. I don't know if that's a good sign, as he is limping the double nickel AC Delco Chevrolet Camaro.
Doesn't look bad.
Doesn't look bad. Looks like a little
there it
crinkle
is.
There it is. A little crinkle dinkle on the rear bumper. Let's take a look and see what happened.
You don't need that here.
It's fine. Oh.
Oh.
He was flirting with the rear bumper of the 98, checked up and loosened himself up. Got to be honest.
Yeah, once you get off, once you're on that loud pedal trying to move forward and then get off of it, you throw the weight of the car around, kind of decompress the suspension where it needs to be compressed, throws that balance off, and you're along for the ride.
Going on board here on the roof cam, we can see there it is, the rear end just coming all the way out for Truth Hoke.
Yeah, and you can hear it wasn't even that much of an egregious move up towards the right, and it wasn't much of an off throttle. It's just enough to upset that balance, and you're along for the slide.
Well, and here we are on pit road for many of these drivers again. Looks like Lee Campbell has decided to come down. Dennis Kane again. Not sure if they think they're trying to keep fuel in these machines or not, because I feel like they should be pretty well packed. As Barry Nelson, Truth Hoke, and Troy Thomas, they're going to come down. So Truth Hoke here in the double nickel, he's going to have to kind of regain a little bit of track position, do a little bit of work here, and get himself back up into contention.
Yeah, for Dennis Kane there, he's more or less probably just making sure that front collision with the 55 didn't do any damage, you know, internally as far as doesn't seem to have done anything to the body work, but you know, you never know with, especially on the iRacing.com servers, a front end hit, you could suddenly lose a ton of power, yet your car looks perfectly fine. So him just coming down, checking those RPMs, making sure they're sitting where they're supposed to, and just making sure everything's patched up. Little bare bond.
A little bit of bare bond never hurt anybody. Drivers getting themselves lined back up here as we get ready to go back green flag racing. That's not a great camera angle now, is it there, folks? As the iRacing.com pace truck lights are out, we headed on into turn 3, Jordan.
Hey, bare bond can certainly hurt someone. I just want to make that known. You get it stuck on the hairs of your arm, it's not a good time.
What's more powerful, Bear Bond or Hot Wax for your
I never had hot
parts?
wax, so I don't have an opinion, but I'm going to say Bear Bond. Green flag back in the air for Rob Yost as he fires off here. Latrell under fire from the 5 for a little bit there, but I mean, Rob Yost so far pretty, I don't want to say untouchable. We saw the 36 able to run him down and take over the race lead, but so far, I mean, the 83 kind of looking like the 88 on Saturday afternoons here. Just hope if he gets this thing done, he doesn't try to hop out of the car and mess up that clavicle.
Yeah, that could be a problem. We're checking in now. Rob Yost just laid down fast time at 14:88, but the 196 of Barry Nelson is tighter than a snare drum at a bagpipe band competition. He can't get this thing away from the wall. As Alex Teft, looking on from behind as we go on board, has no choice but to just try to give him some extra room, because if you look here, it almost looks like, Nelson is all over the racetrack as we go on board with the Aflac 43 Ford Mustang. That'll be the only time I do the duck voice.
Do you remember when that used to just happen randomly throughout the middle of a race?
Yeah, not mad at it.
Used to scare me, I'm not gonna lie.
Yeah. Especially if it came up unexpectedly.
Yeah, you're just kind of sitting there chilling, watching the race, and all of a sudden you just get screamed at by a duck.
Side by side. Great. We have a new thing with two people with ADHD. This is going to be great.
Oh, boy.
Blimp cam over top of the 55-43 in the Ford. Dennis Kane here running right where he began. Now, he's the one that's kind of stuck behind Barry Nelson. Now, Nelson has driven the 196 up into 6th position, but now he's going to have to give away 6th to Dennis Kane. And, Dennis Kane's been in this league a long time. He's been here since I called this league full-time. And, a bang of the wall for the Aflac machine. Alex Teft now having to give up a little bit of space to Barry Nelson. But Dennis Kane has been in this league for a long time, since I was calling this full-time a couple of years ago. And the Detroit, Michigan native now running the 4 machine in 6th position, working his way closer and closer to the boss man, Andrew Teft, as we're going to get a chance to go on board with Teft and look back here just to see what he can out of his rearview mirror, looking back at Dennis Kane. And Kane is coming, and he's a Helen in the Night Owl Racing Ford Mustang.
Yeah, and you can see right there on that right front fender a little bit of a crinkle to it, and that's also showing that as he pounds the wall a little bit there, but that shows you right now the fenders don't matter here as long as you still got the power, able to power through and make a good run here. Just want to try to keep that right front toe in line. You knock that out, you're going to start wearing that tire unevenly and incorrectly, and that's what's going to cause you to have slower runs.
Checking in with the 82 machine of Joshua Neal. I'm going to consider him, out of Fort Wayne, Indiana, by the way, I'm going to consider him the happiest driver on the racetrack right now. He's got about 3.3 seconds back to Andrew Teft and about a half second up to Brandon Puffenbarger. If he stays right here, he's going to actually, he's got a chance, I should say, to bring the 82 home in what Q from 007 would call pristine order.
Oh, yeah. I mean, being in this kind of situation at a track like Bristol is like being at the tail end of a field at Daytona. You're just kind of sitting there riding in the back. No one's pressuring you from behind, and you're just kind of watching everything in front of you. Maybe hoping that some of them get into each other here, and you pounce on that.
Well, and, right now Neal's still losing ground to Puffenbarger, and which ultimately could affect his position versus Andrew Teft. But, right now he's kind of keeping himself at least consistent enough where he's going to keep himself in this little safe zone, if you will, as we work lap 61 here of 200 at Bristol Motor Speedway. Dave Regal and, of course, the great Jordan Brockell, my brother from another mother, sitting in the Tony Trapasso Memorial Broadcast booth.
I started singing Danger Zone, but saying Safe Zone just because you said Safe Zone.
I do appreciate that. I do. So we go on board here with David Kimmons. Now, Kimmons started, dead last in the field, shotgun, if you will, and has now worked his way up into 11th position, and he's doing it rather quietly. And sometimes I think this is what drivers at Bristol need to take notes on. Hey, you may not be running the fastest lap, but you can outlast them. You can outlive them. They can't win in a wrecked race car, but if you've got something real pretty here in the Royal Crown Cola,
RC Cola.
Never a fan of RC Cola.
I can't tell you when I've ever really had it, but to go to your point of surviving. I mean, it is a coliseum. People are doing battle, and if you are the cleanest one, you're not missing any limbs. Your clavicle's still in check. You're good to roll. I think I just like saying clavicle.
Is that the new? Is that the?
I think it just makes me. I think it just makes me feel smart. Oh, big slide there by the 52.
I mean, it is a 3-syllable word.
At 3 syllables is probably the max that I can handle.
I mean, no, I think can you get through arugula? Arugula.
I'd say arugula a lot.
Phenomenal. That's Jim Rome, by the way. Whatever happened to him? Is he working anywhere? He made a lot of people mad.
Well, I mean, so does every Dallas Cowboy ever, but they still get to do things, so.
Well, folks, he's outed me. He's outed me as a Cowboys fan. And, well, folks, tomorrow starts 18 weeks of self-loathing. I'm better off, I'm going to have to hear those 2 words all season long.
Go Birds!
God, I hate your face. I do. But I do want to wish everybody a happy football season. When you get to 5, let me know. That's the only thing I've got left to argue.
Yeah, you felt good when it was just 1. You have 1, we have 5. Then we get that second one, and you're kind of like, that's 40% of the ones we have. You're like, it went from 20%. It went from 20% to 40%, and you're just like, okay, you can stop now.
Yeah, it's getting closer, and I don't like it. I don't like being here. I don't. But you know what? All things considered, good luck to all 32 NFL teams. Actually, no, 31 out of the 32 NFL teams. I hope the Cleveland Browns drive off a cliff. Save us all a lot of headache. And congratulations to the University of North Carolina and their hiring of Coach Bill Belichick. They're off to a great start, 0-1 on the season.
Did you happen to see who ended up broadcasting that game towards the last 2 minutes?
No.
I don't know if you've seen the viral moment of that. They put a headset on a dog.
Would have been better.
And it was like you could hear the panting of the dog in the microphone. And I was like, that's pretty daggone good compared to the game.
I mean, after some of the stuff that we've seen in these in this opening week of college football and the lead up to pro football, that's probably not the craziest thing ever. But getting back to the race itself here, we've got a pretty close battle now. 3 ways to get to what appears to be Alex Teft running here. Curtis Ecker running here in the 8 machine. Alex Teft and Dennis Kane side by side as they sit behind him. We go on board with Dennis Kane as now Alex Teft slides in front of him. He sees another battle just ahead, and that's going to be a good one too as we look back from above here. That's going to be Lee Campbell. I do apologize. Truth Hogue looking back, watching this. He's out of Hickory, North Carolina, and I did find out that in the South, that is not Hickory, as we would say Hickory Farms. That is Hickory. Hickory.
Yeah, like Hickory Motor Speedway.
Yeah, Hickory Motors. Oh, a rub of the wall for Truth Hogue while we're riding on board trying to figure out how to say words.
You drop the O. There's no O in it.
Yeah, Hickory. How do you feel about a trip to Darlington?
Oh, I'm fine with a trip anywhere. As truth hooks are all over the wall, it's going to have to cause Alex Teff to check up just a bit there, as he's trying to run that high line as fast as possible. I mean, when you have someone like Alex Teft all over the rear bumper, it's kind of a threatening aura right there behind you. As Alex Teft's always been one of those guys that's right there in the mix each and every week, especially when I called this full time as well. You know, he's always right there in the mix, especially in the truck series. I know he was pretty daggone fast in that as well. So, oh, another Hoke just again trying to get everything he can, and it's just jumping over that edge just a little too much. And that's the thing with Bristol too, is you don't know where the edge is until you go over it. Then once you're in the wall, you're like, okay, don't do that.
Yeah, I mean, you know, some of what we see at Bristol Motor Speedway is drivers right on the edge, and you know, when you're up here, you know, like Brandon Puffenbarger now with Stephen Luttrell just behind you, this is where you've got to decide: do you turn up the heat a little bit, or do you allow this to kind of play itself out? You know, because you don't want to go out there and beat the bejesus off of your equipment. But it looks like Puffenbarger now leading Luttrell. Of course, Puffenbarger is our points leader here in Racers Elite. He's now been gaining on Luttrell slowly but surely, just by, you know, 100th of a second. Luttrell by 0.3 of a second on 85 and nearly 0.2 of a second here on lap 86 as they cross the start-finish line. Let's see if Luttrell was able to pick anything up. He's not, as it's going to be an interesting, at least for my money, an interesting battle. And we can see that they were basically running neck and neck, and then all of a sudden Puffenbarger just able to start really gapping Luttrell.
Yeah, and, you know, kind of what I was saying earlier, you kind of let the guy go and burn up his stuff. If you can kind of maximize your time with running as softly as possible and taking care of your stuff, you can find a lot to gain there. So Luttrell is, you know, kind of basing what he's doing off of what the leader's doing, and kind of, you know, if he's got to back off pace a little bit and kind of save a little bit, he knows that, you know, Puffenbarger is going to be able to run, you know, X, Y, Z. So just kind of basing your running off of who's around you is a key thing, especially, again, at a track like Bristol where it's, you know, it's a treacherous track.
Rob Yost
That's
Jr.
another big word.
Look, I'm proud of you. I am.
I got my
Yost
Webster's
Jr.
dictionary.
Yeah, Webster. That's a big word, too. Rob Yost Jr. just about, as now they're going to exchange positions, he and the 43 of Alex Teft. Teft now climbing past Yost. Now Yost is our pole sitter, as he's got the 83 running right now in 8th position. So not favorable for him. Not sure what he's got going on, as he's going to bring it down pit road. I guess we're going to find out what has him so concerned, if you will. Let's see where he is. Now, this is the hardest part about running the full pit road here at Bristol Motor Speedway. He is in pit box number 1. You can see that right here in the foreground of your screen. As he comes down pit road, he has to maintain pit road speed, which is 35, all the way down to this first pit box. And we're going to see what he's coming down for in just a moment.
Yeah, I mean, just as he gets into his box, he's 2.5 laps down already, and gonna go probably another 2 laps, probably just another lap and a half down. So essentially another 2 laps down.
Yeah, it looks like he's going to get 4 tires and a tank of Go Fast here in the number 83 WeatherTech Chevrolet Camaro as he rolls off pit road. That may signal the beginning of these green flag pit cycles. And, you know, this is what I was talking about earlier as we were watching some of these drivers go a long time on that opening set of tires, especially for a place like this. Let's pull up that pit strategy right here in the middle of your screen. 67 laps, 68 now for Puffenbarger, Luttrell, and Teft, 56 for Campbell. So we're starting to see some of these pit strategies come into effect, and that's going to be interesting moving forward, at least for my money.
Yeah, and I think a big thing in Rob Yost's mind that he needs to just kind of think about is don't go out there and overrun your stuff. Don't look at that, time frame of how, being 3, 4 laps down and start thinking you've got to make up a ton of time. Once they make their stop, you're going to be right there where you were. If not, improve yourself just a few seconds, half second, whatever it may be. Just don't overrun your stuff. Run your own race within this race, and you'll 9 times out of 10 come out a better person as far as position on the racetrack.
Well, and we can see all 15 drivers from this race itself. Now, it looks like Barry Nelson, Pete Pellini, and Rob Yost all decided. Well, Yost, oh, there he is, yeah. So Barry Nelson, Pete Pellini, and Sean Dunaway, they've all decided that that's enough for them. But all things considered, I think we're going to start to see some of these yellows turn blue for the pit strategy. I mean, we can see that basically that top 7, they're all out there on long run tires. They've got a good strategy going. Truth Hoke coming down after just 11 laps on his last set of tires. So going to be interesting as we move deeper into the night here at Bristol Motor Speedway. In fact, let's see if we can get some of these other drivers. Whoop, that didn't work out. That just all the way disappeared.
Yeah, something to think about, though, too, is, as Yost is out here, these guys having to slow up times. Look at Yost, the last lap around here was a 15:42 versus Puffenbarger. His last lap around here, 16:04. Let's see what he does this time. It's going to go 16:09. As Yost just came across, he went 15:46. So you're a little over half a second faster per lap. So the longer they stay out, the more you're going to move yourself forward. Now, when they come back out, they're going to be running you down. But if everything goes as planned, you can find yourself a little bit more further forward than you were.
Yeah, I mean, we can see this now. Now, Troy Thomas, Troy Thomas.
I don't want to be lonely no more.
Yeah, see, that's what I was afraid was going to happen. On lap 105, it looks like Troy Thomas ran a 16.617, and Yost was a 2.1 faster. So, he's going to start closing that gap as now between those two. It's about 14 seconds. That's nearly a full lap. So, obviously, it looks like Yost is going to try to get at least one of these 3 laps back the old-fashioned way. We're going to have to keep our eye on this and monitor what's going on. The other factor here tonight, as we look here on the right-hand side of your screen, look at that track temperature, 73 degrees. That is one grippy piece of concrete.
Like me with grippy socks on a hardwood floor.
Oof, I can see you doing the face plant now.
No, I have balance-ish.
Yeah, balance-ish. It's like me trying to walk a flat. You're going to have to come up to King of Prussia. We got to check out this Thrills place. It's not a strip club, although the name might allude to that. But do you remember the show Wipeout back in the day on ABC?
Yes.
They've got the stuff that knocks you off of stuff. They've got the big balls that try to beat the people. Oh, dude, you have to take a day off of work the next day because you will hurt excessively. But it is so much fun, and I'm an adult, I tell myself.
Yeah, it's funny you look at shows like that, like Wipeout, and you're like, I don't understand how they fall. I could do that. And then you get wrecked by a inflatable red ball, and you're like, yeah, no, I couldn't do that.
I get wrecked by sleeping wrong. I don't need the red ball to beat me up.
Stuff of nightmares.
As has been confirmed, lap 116, we are past the halfway point. That's a pretty good day, all things considered, here for the Racers Elite Xfinity Series. Dave Regal and Jordan Brockell with you in the Tony Trapasso Memorial Broadcast booth. I want to thank everybody for checking in with us tonight over on the old YouTube feed. We want to thank you for welcoming us into your homes, onto your phones, wherever you may be and however you may be listening.
Telling you, Dave, we need a podcast.
Who would pay for it?
We just put it on Spotify. I hope somebody finds a giggle from it.
I mean, I'm sure somebody would. The problem is that it's also the people that wear the jackets with the sleeves that wrap all the way around them.
Hey, I never had to wear that, okay? It was just a lie.
Yeah,
It was a myth.
Was it the turtle suit?
No, I was
Like a
free. I was
turtle?
free to roam around as I pleased until nighttime, and then they shut my door.
Mental health is not a joking matter.
Hey, when you've
But
gone
when you
through
know,
what I have,
when you know somebody who has high five Jesus on their way back, it's okay.
yeah. Hey, man. Not to pull a little emotion into this, but we're coming up on close to a year there, buddy. It's been it'll be 11 months here at September 11th. You know, it's kind of overshadowed by a more important remembrance, but you know, October 11th, right around the corner, it'll be 1 year since the incident, and I cannot say thank you to you enough and everyone here at Sim Racing Media. Uh, Gotten me through that year. My family. So I'm looking forward to, as I'm the one that's going to start tearing up. I don't know if I'll be
Buddy,
working with you anytime soon.
it's
Life
not
takes a
often.
different road, so
I mean, to be
life has
fair,
different roads. So
it's not often you and I get to play in the sandbox together. They usually keep us in separate places.
well, if you would stop eating the sand, we might be allowed to be in the same
Hey,
sandbox. But
yours truly is down 65 pounds.
I know both some great journeys that we've gone through. So
Well, it turns out I wasn't living a healthy dietary lifestyle.
you mean hot dogs and Yingling is not a healthy lifestyle?
See, now I would argue that to be true. I
It
would say
is.
that
I've
that is a
got
healthy lifestyle.
something that I'm more like I've been eating a lot of that I'm eating like hot dogs, and it's definitely added some calories. But the Wawa pretzel breakfast sandwich, I don't know what it is. I don't know what it is, but it's a
I
pretzel roll with sausage, egg, and cheese.
Andrew Teff down pit road, and I got to be honest, I have not had a Wawa breakfast sandwich, and I could not tell you how long.
I have an
Now there
unhealthy.
was
I
no.
think I think it's a more unhealthy relationship with me and Wawa Sizzlies versus me and hot dogs.
No, I mean, here's the thing. As Andrew Teff going to come around, he's going to come in for pit service, as well as Brandon Puffenbarger, Lee Campbell, and Troy Thomas. We're going to have to keep a close eye on all three of these drivers. Puffenbarger was your race leader. He's still your points leader. He's going to have to come all the way around. Back to pit box number 2. Andrew Teft here in pit box number 6. Getting his service, they drop the left side. He spins the tires, and off he goes. And Stephen Luttrell comes down. That cycles Curtis Ecker onto the lead. Now, the interesting thing here for Ecker is he has not been down since lap 29. So more than 100 laps, that can't be. No, it can be. 101 laps now for Curtis Ecker.
Yeah, I mean that's gonna answer a question from my side. Is I was wondering if Yost is gonna be able to make it to the end here, being on track or on pit road lap 93 versus the other guys. They're all coming down around lap 127, 128. Those guys, just went 70 plus laps on their runs. But with Ecker still out on the racetrack, I mean, I think Yost has it, down that he can get to the end. But what is he going to have left in that car versus what these guys are going to have left in theirs? He's going to be about a little over a lap ahead of these guys, or half a lap ahead of these guys as they run right now. He's going to lose that rather quickly with these guys all being on fresh stuff. So how much of a benefit is it going to be for that 83 machine to have come down so soon? So here comes Curtis Ecker. Everybody's going to get their lap back. Curtis Ecker going to fall quite a few laps back.
Yeah, this is going to cost Curtis Ecker some very precious track position. I mean, I know that he was probably holding on, hoping for somebody to get bit by the cold tire bug as he slides on into his pit box. That's going to move Rob Yost back up here to the race lead, followed by Brandon Puffenbarger. Now, Puffenbarger trails him by about 3.6 seconds. This is going to be where we start to watch some of this history. Puffenbarger now gaining by nearly a second on every lap. 8 tenths over the last 2 laps, 7 tenths, now another 8 tenths. Let's just call it a second for all intents and purposes.
Yeah, Yost running 16:24 this time around. We'll wait for that to populate 16:24 to a 16:06. So, he's running about half a second to a full second, like you said, a lap. He's not going to be able to hold back that 5 by any means, but can he, maybe hold off Andrew Teft or a Steven Littrell as they get, closer to him? They start burning their stuff up to get to him. He might be able to still hold on to that P2 spot.
Well, Rob Yost still holding the race lead for the time being as it looks like Puffenbarger is going to get closer and closer. We're going to go back here to the 5 machine. Here he comes. Like hell on wheels as Brandon Puffenbarger as he goes side by side for the race lead. Rob Yost Jr. has no choice but to watch Puffenbarger blow the proverbial doors off of his Chevrolet Camaro. And now it's a pair of bow ties at the front and then 5 blue ovals. No Toyota Supras in the field tonight. I'm not mad at it, that's for sure. But this is definitely a Chevy-heavy kind of league.
Heavy Chevy. Sorry. I've seen many race cars this past weekend at the Yellow Bullet Nationals, all having the heavy Chevy written on it.
That's exciting.
I love race cars. Race cars.
I feel like that's part of what qualifies you to do this job. And Steven Littrell here in the 36 going to work around Andrew Teft, the boss man, trying to hold on to P3, and Littrell is giving him all kinds of trouble. And they're really not too unevenly matched pit cycle-wise, 130 and 127 respectfully, as now Littrell getting around. This is a good battle right here, folks. We're going to keep it on as we can see Andrew Teft with his hands full in the 98. This car bouncing all over the racetrack, those hands busier than a one-arm paper hanger.
And I see now Yost really off the pace from what he was. 16:56 that time, by a full second slower than these guys that just went by him. So evidently something may have changed enough in that car that he's either not comfortable or he just doesn't have the power, and right there grabs the wall.
Yeah, a little rub of the wall there for Rob Yost Jr. as we work lap 146 of 200 here at Bristol Motor Speedway. I got to be honest, this race is really shaping up to be something special. We're just a little over 50 laps to go, and we're only 42 minutes into this thing. I mean, these drivers are putting on a show, and I've said that there's a reason that they're called Racers Elite. These are some elite drivers right here on our, I would say airwaves, but it's visual waves.
Our voices are airwaves. There you go.
I just remember that
Close
episode
enough.
of the Magic School Bus where, I could see sound waves. That was exciting.
Something, that's one of those shows that I know I've watched so much of it, but I remember absolutely nothing of that show.
I'm a large child, and every time I take cough medicine, I always think of when Ralphie stayed home sick and the purple stuff killed all the nasty germs. Could also be why I have a little bit of a germophobic tendency.
Well, comes with territory. I've learned that I can't be germophobic, especially not now, especially with a 2.5, almost 3-year-old.
Oh no, I'm infecting my own children. Rob Yost coming down pit road. This is going to be his final stop of the night. Not sure what the thought here is.
Honestly, I feel like his thought was catch a caution at the right moment, get himself clear ownership of the lead, and I think the strategy did not come down to his way, and now you just kind of lie in the bed you made.
Well, you know what, though? I respect that. If you're going to make that decision, if you're going to make that call, you stick with it. And that's what Rob Yost has done tonight, as he's going to take off now from pit road, getting around the pace truck. And once again, and I can't stress this enough, but these drivers have basically gotten themselves around this piece with only a couple of cautions. Not mad at it. Not mad at it at all. They have proven
Absolutely not
to be that good. And, Rob Yost, hey, if you're going to commit to, hoping for the caution, and you wind up in a race like, and it's not average that we see next to no cautions at Bristol Motor Speedway. I mean, what are we at, 2 for the evening?
Yeah,
Nobody's mad. These drivers are having a blast down here. They're putting on a great show.
Yeah, I mean, with my, introductory, broadcast, my first time being in a broadcast booth on iRacing, I think it was 21 or 22 cautions in a full-length Bristol race. So to have 2 is a to have 2 is a blessing.
To be fair, when I raced at SNN, I mean, we got into some of those races where, places like this would just drive you batty. As we're taking a look here at the pit strategy, lap strategy of Andrew Teft, and I mean, he was slowly but surely losing ground on Puffenbarger, and now lap 158 and 159, he was a little bit faster than Puffenbarger. And one thing that I'll note for Andrew Teft is he is the kind of driver that I've watched him save fuel like a son of a gun. I forget where we were, but he was mid-race, not even, like in the closing laps. He was saving fuel, which saved his pit time. Like, it was incredible what he pulled off.
I think I remember it was a Truck Series race, if I'm not mistaken. It was at IRP. He was running the 98 Ranger, the whatever the Ranger Red, or the Ty Majeski sponsor at the time. I remember watching him save just like that and saving incredible amounts of fuel and having a run beyond belief to get to the end of that race. And if there's one guy that can certainly pull off a dominant strategy, or every strategy be a winning strategy, it's going to be Andrew Teft. Time and time again, he's proven that to be the case.
And I got to be honest, we see a lot of guys who are the president of leagues here on iRacing, or they're the admin, if you will, whatever you want to call it. And we see that they run a fair to Midland race. They do okay, but Andrew Teft is always up here in the thick of it. Of course, he's running P2 right now in the point standings, just 4 points behind Brandon Puffenbarger. And, sometimes you see a league owner that's running, let's just say out of these 15, they're in 12th. Nah, Andrew Teft is up here saying, I want more.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, for Andrew Teft, he's built an amazing, massive playground, but he's certainly standing at the top of it, saying he's king of the mountain when it comes to being on the racing surface. And he puts in the work to race, puts in the work to put on these races, as well as build the community he has. So, certainly a deserving wearer of the crown, and time ticking away here, still sitting around just under 3 seconds behind the 5 here, but still, it sounds like a ton of time with 30 laps, but at a place when you're knocking off 15-second laps, that time's going to fly by.
This race overall, when we talk about time flying by, that's what this has been all about tonight. We're 30 laps from the end of this thing, and I'm shocked. I really am. I think that a tip of the cap needs to be made, that every one of the drivers, and I want to hear this when we do the podium later, that every one of these drivers needs to be thanking their fellow drivers tonight, as we see Lee Campbell and Curtis Ecker, and Ecker was involved in an incident early. Oh, God! We stay green because they stay pointed the right direction, but whoa! Curtis Ecker just cleaned the clock of Lee Campbell.
That's going to change.
Back this up just a little bit here. Now these two drivers were going at it pretty hot and heavy as we go out to the blimp cam. We see the 8 of Ecker working over top of Campbell in the 60. They make contact. He hooks him. And because the 60 never turned fully sideways, that's gonna change the way that works.
Yeah, and I think it's just another case of, our first caution with him and Troy Thomas earlier in this race. Two cars, same spot. The bottom car just trails up the track just a touch, and Ecker, maybe trying to come off corner, just all right there. No one's fault by any means. So it's just one of those things. Two cars, same real estate.
The impressive thing to me, at least, is that one, Campbell's still running in 5th position. Ecker moves up to 4th, and they didn't bring the caution out. We're 25 to go here on lap 176. Dave Regal and Jordan Brockel with you on Sim Racing Media. We want to thank all of you for making us a part of your evening, for welcoming us into your homes and onto your phones, wherever you may be and however you may be listening. And folks, to be quite honest, you're getting a treat tonight. The A-Team is here in the broadcast booth.
Everything that I was about to say, the FCC would have fired you just because I said it.
Happens. Not the end of the world. Also want to remind everybody to head on to their Apple App Store or the Google Play Store. Download the AM 1410 WLSH app and tune in 7 o'clock Friday night for Marion Catholic against Panther Valley High School for some high school football action. If you like hanging out with me tonight here on Wednesday, you'll really like hanging out with myself and Dave McAndrew on Friday night as we bring you all the action live from Lansford, Pennsylvania. Ask me where that is, and I'll tell you it's not the end of the world, but you can see it from there.
Telling you, we could call a great football game together.
We could. We could. I would have to sell that idea to the radio station. They're going to look at me like I'm 7 shades of crazy. Watch the 60 of Lee Campbell. Now, Campbell being put down a lap by Brandon Puffenbarger. Just 4 cars left on the lead lap. You can see that here on the left side of your screen as we work here with 19 laps to go. I just said 25. We blink, and we're at 19. But Campbell now would be the lucky dog should things happen that we don't want to see on the racetrack.
Yeah, I mean, every 1 minute, roughly, you're taking off 4 laps. So, I mean, you're looking at like 5 minutes of racing, less than 5 minutes of racing here in this thing with 17 to go here.
Look, I'm sitting here just absolutely flabbergasted with the way that these guys have gotten around this place tonight. I mean,
that's a big word.
Flabbergasted?
That's a big word.
Flummoxed?
Okay, now you're saying words I don't understand.
But I mean, look how, right here, we are, in fact, let's see here, position. Here's the 5. You can see that highlighted with the white number 1 just crossing the start-finish line on your track map. Then your 5th place car is actually between 1st and 2nd if you look here on the track map. I mean, this can be a disaster if you let it be.
It can be, but I mean, with the Racers Elite crew here, it's going to take a high act of someone trying to get a little too much, a little too greedy for that to even happen, and we don't see a ton of that here, so.
No, and basically everybody has made up their bed for the evening. I mean, 58 laps on these tires for Puffenbarger, 60 for Teft, 57 for Luttrell, and Luttrell's really not making any kind of headway. He's not going to be able to close this gap as he's separated by about 3.3 seconds. There's just, not enough time, and I think it's something that we see more often, we hear more often than anything on iRacing or any, form of racing, whether it's in the virtual world or the real world. But, I feel like at least once a week between the two, you hear, if I only had 1 more lap. I just needed 5 more laps. Everybody just needs that 1 more lap. But with 3.77 seconds between Luttrell and Puffenbarger, I think we're looking at our podium right now, Puffenbarger, Teft, and Luttrell.
Yeah, I mean, it's going to be hard as Puffenbarger, I think, got a little touch of the wall there, but again, with a 2.4 second lead, he's allowed to have a little bit of a scrape and a rub there every once in a while.
Yeah, I mean, 9 laps to go here at Bristol Motor Speedway here in Bristol, Tennessee. Of course, Bristol, Virginia, just on the other side of the border. We're not far away. Actually, there's a few bars in Bristol that the state line runs down the middle of. Makes it kind of fun.
Did you get arrested for taking alcohol over state lines? Is that not a thing? Have I been lied to my entire life?
I think you've been lied to your entire life, but as long as the police aren't listening, I have transported alcohol to New Jersey more times than I care to think of.
I don't know why I always thought it was like some big criminal case.
No. In fact, coming back from Ocean City back in April, my boss and I stopped at the liquor store on the way home because beer and liquor is cheaper in New Jersey than it is here in Pennsylvania. It's fine. Because we have priorities at Scully Company.
Priorities.
It's never a good sign when you call your boss. You're like, hey, I'm on my way home from vacation. Got to swing by the house, and she says, can you pick me up some beer? Yeah, sure. And you know that it has to be a 30-pack of Miller Lite, and you didn't have to ask. That's.
I don't know. I don't know your boss. I don't know anything about him. But the fact that it's that Miller Lite, that beautiful golden elixir, I love it. 4 laps to go here. Going to be 3 as they cross the line. Just 3 laps to go here from Bristol Motor Speedway, and again, Puffenbarger out to a 3.5-second lead now, and Luttrell may be closing in. And I think that's going to be one of those things where he's going to start saying, if I just had one more lap.
And as he crosses the start-finish line, the popsicle sticks are in the air. We're 2 laps to go, and Brandon Puffenbarger certainly doesn't need an extra lap to bring home the checkered flag. He is racing his way back to the white flag. Andrew Teft running in second, Steve Luttrell and Curtis Ecker running third and fourth. And as the popsicle sticks go down, the white flag is in the air, and we're racing back to checkers. Brandon Puffenbarger with the race lead, 4 seconds ahead of Andrew Teft, rolling out of turn 4, crossing the start-finish line, and Brandon Puffenbarger, your points leader and your race leader, wins it here at Bristol Motor Speedway. Andrew Teft coming across the line in second, and Steve Luttrell comes home in third as drivers now cooling down their racing machines. Ecker in fourth. Lee Campbell rounds out your top 5 with Alex Teft, Truth Hoke, Joshua Neal, Dennis Kane, Rob Yost Jr., Troy Thomas, David Kimmins, Barry Nelson, Pete Pellini, and Sean Dunaway make up the remainder of your field tonight as Brandon Puffenbarger gets ready to burn it down here on the front stretch at the last great Coliseum, Bristol Motor Speedway. Hey, man, it's Bristol, baby. What a race we had tonight, Jordan.
A phenomenal race. And again, just 2 cautions and a lot of green flag action, a lot of green flag pit stops. You can't ask for anything more from Bristol Motor Speedway than that. I mean, again, these races have the potential to consistently be a wreck fest after wreck fest after wreck fest just because of the nature of this beast. And to walk away with just a few cars with the damage and just a few cautions, I mean, that's a lucky go around here.
As Brandon Puffenbarger hops out of the race car, we're going to wait for these drivers to come up on in here to the waiting room so we can check in with them. And while we do that, we're going to quick look at our final results from right here at Bristol Motor Speedway, as I was just mentioning a moment ago. Here they are, Brandon Puffenbarger, Andrew Teft, and Steve Luttrell. They're going to make up your podium tonight as Puffenbarger captures the checkered flag. Curtis Ecker and Lee Campbell finish in 4th and 5th. 6th position goes to Alex Teft, 7th to Truth Hoke, Joshua Neal in 8th. Dennis Kane and Rob Yost round out your top 10 with Troy Thomas, David Kimmins, Barry Nelson, Pete Pellini, and Sean Dunaway as they make up the rest of your field. And with us now in the Tony Trapassa Memorial Broadcast booth is your race winner, Brandon Puffenbarger. Hey, Brandon, it's Dave up in the booth. You got me?
Yes, sir.
What a run you had tonight. I mean, you qualify on the front row. You come in here with the points lead. You're going to leave here tonight with the points lead. I mean, you came in with a slim margin over top of Andrew. And, I mean, you just, wow. What a way to get it done tonight with almost no cautions for Bristol.
Yeah, it was a long one. My anything on my arms or wrist hurt at the moment.
Yeah, I'm gonna just have to ask out of curiosity: are you using a direct drive wheel or belt driven?
Direct drive.
Oh my! Yeah, you're gonna need some Tiger Balm, a beer, and Tylenol.
Yeah.
Well, man, listen, you had a great race tonight. I mean, it was incredible to watch what you were doing there, and obviously, you got the job done. Before we cut you loose tonight, who do you need to thank and tip your helmet to?
Just Andrew for putting on this show. My teammates, you guys for putting on the broadcast. It's a lot of fun to go back and watch. My wife for letting me do this. That's about it.
Everybody always has to thank the wife for letting him do this. That's for sure. Well, listen, man, congratulations on the win tonight. We'll see you next week, and congrats on staying in the points lead. Thanks, man.
Thank you.
That the voice of Brandon Puffenbarger. And up next, I believe, Jordan, you have him with you, Chief Cook and Bottle Washer Andrew Teft out of Hope Valley, Rhode Island.
Hey, Andrew, it's Jordan in the booth. You got a copy, brother?
Yeah, I got you.
Hey, man, so you come in here, P2 in the points. You're going to walk out of here, P2. Great run here. One of the guys that I know can certainly stretch a fuel run and even tires. I mean, you find way to almost rejuvenate a car through a mid-run, but, you fall just a position short here tonight. Is there anything more that you think you needed to get that lead?
Kind of just took me a while to figure out where to run this race. I was way off the first, I don't know, quarter of the race or so, and I was moving all over the place trying to find something that worked. And I think my spotter was reading off the leader's lap times. I was like a half second off, so I was like, I guess I better search around. But once I moved up the track, I found a little bit more speed. I just needed to find a way to save the right front a little bit more. I was able to keep up more, but still just too much tire wear there at the end. And yeah, Brandon just ran a perfect race up there, and he had a really good pit cycle, I noticed too. I think I came in maybe a couple laps before him, or a lap or so, and came back out, and he might have been a second further ahead. So I think maybe I was just too conservative on pit entry there too.
Yeah, and something that me and Dave touched on throughout the broadcast with, this being Bristol. Bristol, always has that tendency to be a chaotic race, caution after caution. And, he touched on, just a little bit of the exhaustion in the arms and then, maybe in the legs trying to run this thing around here. I mean, were you feeling any of the same kind of effects? I mean, it's no breaks really throughout this race. It was pretty much a marathon after those first two cautions.
Yeah, my eyes are pretty dried up and staring at the screen here, but yeah, it was kind of a weird feel handling wise too, because you couldn't really tell when the car was going to step out when you hit those bumps. It just needed a little bit more lateral there. I think I forget what your question was.
Just how the exhaustion and how that played in, and having basically a marathon race. So you hit everything on that, like you said, it usually being chaotic here. You have a pretty easy go around. I can't say easy go around. Bristol's a tough, but you don't have to worry about the cautions and being all stacked up and everything like that.
Yeah, I did have to kind of tell myself to loosen up a few times. Just, you start staring so much at the screen, you kind of go cross-eyed after a while, and I'm like, am I in 1 and 2 or 3 and 4? You kind of lose track after a while, get a little dizzy, but yeah, just did my best to stay focused, touched the wall maybe a couple times, and I was trying to find some Kyle Larson speed way up top, but there was just nothing there. And yeah, Brandon just ran a perfect race, so congrats to him.
Absolutely. Well, before we cut you loose there, brothers, anybody you want to shout out and thank for tonight, man?
Yeah, I want to thank you guys for helping out in the booth. Everybody that tunes in to watch, shows up to race, friends, family, team, our servicemen and women. And if you want to check us out, head on over to racerselite.com. And if you don't mind doing us a favor, hit that subscribe button on our YouTube channel homepage. Trying to get to 1,000 now, so everybody helps, and we appreciate it.
All right, man. Once again, thanks for the time, and congrats on the P2.
Thanks, fellas.
Absolutely. Thank you once again, Andrew. And last but certainly not least on our podium, driver of the number 36 Ford Mustang, Steve Luttrell, as now the screen has decided that was enough time for us. Hey, Steve, it's Dave in the broadcast booth. You got a copy?
I sure do. What's going on, guys?
Man, listen, you're what's going on tonight. You did an incredible job getting it home in third position, especially with just so few cars left on the lead lap, so as it was. I mean, how do you explain yourself after this thing?
Oh man, I don't know. I am wore out, tired. It was a lot of green flag runs. If I just wish there was one more caution, because getting onto pit road that's where I lost a lot of time getting onto pit road.
Yeah, I mean, pit road here is a bear. There's nothing really clear cut to say this is where, But at the same time, the green flag pit stops here tonight. I mean, we don't see that very often in any case, whether it's real life or on iRacing. Your fellow drivers tonight did an incredible job, including yourself, giving each other room. I mean, this was probably the most competitive, good Bristol race I've ever seen.
Oh, it's one of the best I've ever been in. These guys run great. I practiced getting onto pit road maybe twice, thinking, there's no way. So I should have done it more, but I should have known, because I think in this league we've had less yellows this season than I've had in one race in other leagues. So yeah, these guys drive really good. They're really good. They're really tough, but clean. I really love it here.
All right, my man. Well, listen, congratulations once again. And before we cut you loose, who do you need to thank and who helped you get it done tonight here on Racers Elite?
Oh, I just got to thank my mom, my dad, my wife for letting me spend all the money and all this time, my kids and my grandson Mason, and you guys for putting it on, and Andrew for putting on the league. It's a great league.
All right, buddy. Well, listen, congratulations once again. We'll see you next week.
Copy that. Thank you.
That the voice of Steve Luttrell, driver of the number 36 Ford Mustang. And Jordan, what a race we had tonight, even as we sit here in the dark. They've already turned the lights out on the racetrack.
That's a common theme when it's me and you. The lights seem to go out before we're even ready to leave. So a phenomenal race here at Bristol. Like we said a million times throughout the broadcast, I mean, to do 200 laps and only have 2 cautions is daggone unheard of. But I mean, I guess it's 110% why it's the Racers Elite, series is these drivers are elite in what they do.
Without a doubt. Well, folks, we want to thank you for joining us tonight and hanging out with us for the last little while here. I'm Dave Regal, and he's Jordan Brockell. And tomorrow and every day as you walk down the road of life, please don't play in traffic. Good night, everybody.